Yo, Mr. White, Aaron Paul is in this movie.
You're goddamn right.
Mission Impossible 3 is directed by J.J. Abrams, written by him, Alex Kurtzman, and Roberto Orsi, and stars Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Michelle Monaghan, and Ving Rhames. And in Mission Impossible 3, Ethan Hunt has kind of settled down with his fiancée. He doesn't work in the field anymore, but he does train new agents for the IMF. But he's called back into action one day when it's discovered that one of his former pupils has been captured, is being held captive, and this leads to this huge international hunt for this mysterious weapon called the Rabbit's Foot. Now, did you know that this movie was supposed to be directed by David Fincher? And I have no doubt that if he took on the project, the Mission Impossible series would end up more like Brian De Palma's version of it. But I do like the fact that they went for the more action-heavy focus, because I did enjoy Mission Impossible 3 a lot. I think the action gets kind of exhausting at points, although I still do think it's super fun to watch, and the writing has definitely stepped up its game from the last two. Now, in terms of audio-visual presentation, this is the first movie in the series, to me, that really feels like an action extravaganza, because the second movie kind of came across like a foreign action film because it was like really strange for most viewers. Here, you really get like a full product. The visual effects are seamless, the sound is loud and proud without being deafening or overbearing. And while Mission Impossible 2 gave us a good sense of place with its cinematography, here they really use production design and set design to really help you understand the environments where the set pieces are taking place. It really helps with the immersion. You feel like you're there with them, you're trying to figure out where to go. And I love that so much of this movie is about infiltration, because for me, infiltration is a really good compromise between like stealth and full-on action, and it really manages to put Mission Impossible 3 in a position where it honors like the past of the series while heading to a new direction. The editing here by Marianne Brandon and Mary Jo Markey is very intense, it's constantly moving, and it's also very suspenseful. And like I said, the writing, I thought, took a real step up here, because the character of Ethan Hunt is explored more than ever. It's really great to see him kind of near his breaking point a lot of the time in this movie, because he has a great antagonist as well in Philip Seymour Hoffman's Owen Davian. He really brings out the worst in Ethan, which is what all great villains, I think, should do. He's a great psychological match to the IMF's technology. And if you want proof at how good the writing gets in Mission Impossible 3, just look at the very opening scene of this movie. It's one of the most intense openings I've ever seen, not just from the series, but overall. And in terms of acting, I feel like Tom Cruise's dramatic talent is often overlooked now because of all the action movies he makes, but he really is such a great dramatic actor. He manages to show character for Ethan Hunt even during action scenes, and like I mentioned a while ago, it's really great to see him act when Ethan Hunt is near his breaking point. Like, it's just really scary. But Philip Seymour Hoffman pretty much steals the show here as this villain who is intimidating not because of what he looks like, but because of how quiet and manipulative he is. He really gets under your skin and you end up just hating this dude by the end. And really, just like the first movie, everyone in this cast does a great job. Michelle Monaghan, Ving Rhames, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, Maggie Q, Lawrence Fishburne, and especially Simon Pegg, who is a great comic relief to see in this super intense movie. And I love how J.J. Abrams constructs his action scenes here, because he does it, I think, in such an intelligent way that respects like setting, and he avoids becoming convoluted with the action and with the storytelling. It's really refreshing to see, and his intense tone is impressively sustained throughout this entire movie's running time. It never wavers. But there are a few things to me that kind of stop Mission Impossible 3 from becoming like really good. For one, this is one of the only times I'll say that an action movie is paced too quickly. There's almost zero downtime in this movie, which is important, I think, to help make sure the action doesn't become exhausting, which is what happens here. It just jumps from one set piece to another, and there's no time to really build up suspense or character. And while J.J. Abrams' action direction is still coherent in this movie, his frequent use of handheld cameras can get a bit incomprehensible at times. And while I did say that the writing does take a step up from the previous movies, I still think that the plot gets really messy very quickly near the end when they suddenly feel like tossing in all these twists, which are completely unnecessary in my opinion. But all in all, I think that Mission Impossible 3 is a pretty good movie. It's definitely worth your time, especially if you're an action fan, and gives me extra hope again that he will be able to rejuvenate Star Wars with The Force Awakens. Please don't be bad. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Mission Impossible 3. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.